Guys, you're absolutely going to be low-key blown away by what is happening in content creation right now. Artificial intelligence is not just casually helping creators anymore. It is straight up fundamentally changing how we manage and post all of our content. Seriously, the change we are seeing in efficiency is genuinely staggering in the creator economy today. For those who don't know me, hi everyone, I'm Pavel, and I focus on filmmaking and general content creation strategies. Today, I need to show you something so ridiculously convenient that it honestly felt like I was completely cheating when I first tried to use it. With maybe 1 or 2 simple clicks, a long, messy original recording instantly becomes a set of juicy, fully ready-to-post clips. This completely bypasses those weird manual chopping sessions or those long hours spent hunting in Premiere for that single attention-grabbing moment. But okay, before we jump into the actual magic of the tool, we have to do the necessary precursor, ruin a perfectly good recording so we can properly test this new system. I made sure to crack open a nearby window to deliberately introduce some classic street noise, like those passing cars and that pleasant low urban rumble. After that, I read a short paragraph out loud, which, for extra meta points, I actually had an AI system generate for me beforehand. Here's exactly what I said into the microphone while the window was open, and the room sounded kind of echoey and definitely not studio perfect at all. Artificial intelligence is fundamentally changing the way we all live, work, and perhaps most importantly for us, the way we play. AI technology has already been utilized to successfully automate many mundane, repetitive tasks, providing us with far more efficient ways to complete our work. Ultimately, it genuinely has the massive potential to save us significant time and considerable money by handling things that would normally take a human being much longer to complete. Alright, that recording with all of the environmental noise is officially our messy source material for this entire demonstration. Now, the traditional process would involve taking this into Premiere, maybe applying some heavy EQ, tossing on aggressive noise reduction in Audition, or trying several different adaptive filters. You know, the familiar, frustrating ritual. That whole routine absolutely works eventually, but it chews up so much valuable time. And you definitely need to know exactly what you are doing to get it right. What I wanted to thoroughly investigate today was something entirely different. Could a single AI actually transform this single long raw file into numerous short, punchy clips and even automatically schedule them for posting across all platforms? And this is precisely the point where a specialized tool, which in this case we are testing with Vizard, enters the frame. To be completely transparent here, there are actually quite a few solid tools currently floating around doing isolated parts of this process very well. For example, Adobe has a fantastic podcast tool that excels at cleaning up noisy audio. One click instantly removes your voice reverb, and the entire room sound fades away beautifully. Then tools like Descript offer that amazing transcript-driven editing experience, which is wonderful for certain workflows, but can quickly become quite pricey and still forces you to manually select every single part you wish to keep or cut. Furthermore, applications like CapCut and numerous other mobile editors are certainly handy if your preference is to do every single step yourself right on your phone, but they remain somewhat manual in execution. What this specific platform, Vizard, manages to achieve is stitching several of those genuinely good ideas together in a way that feels like you've handed the entire content problem off to one very capable personal assistant. So here's precisely what my initial test involved. I simply uploaded that raw, long video file, noise, echo, and all imperfections included, directly into the platform. Once the file was in, the interface greeted me with a super chill, straightforward design, prompting me to just drag and drop the file so the AI could immediately begin scanning the entire recording. While that was happening in the background, the AI was concurrently executing 3 major, crucial tasks for me. The first job was actively finding the absolute most clickable moments, those specific snippets people genuinely stop their endless scrolling to watch. The second task involved intelligently cleaning the audio file just enough so that the resulting clips are not painful for a casual listener to endure. The final major background function was generating dozens of completely new, short-form clips, all automatically formatted perfectly for various social media aspect ratios. I gave the system a minute or two to fully process everything, and honestly, I had no clear idea what kind of output I should even be expecting from this automated process. Would the final output just be a random jumble of poorly selected clips? Or would it completely butcher the original pacing and flow of my delivery? Would the cuts it made be jarring, unnatural, and generally destroy the context of the original statement I made? The definitive answer turned out to be no, because the system managed to avoid all of those negative outcomes spectacularly. The actual clips it pulled out were the specific moments where my vocal delivery naturally peaked in energy, where the sentences contained inherent hooks, and where the overall message still made complete sense, standing entirely on its own. As an added really nice bonus, the AI also provided suggested captions, draft thumbnails, and correctly sized aspect ratios appropriate for every intended social platform. That single feature alone, the automatic asset creation, saved me what felt like an entire hour of tedious setup work. Now, let's circle back and spend a moment discussing the audio quality, because I know many of you in the community are extremely picky about clean sound. As I mentioned, Adobe's specific podcast tool remains genuinely excellent for that initial raw audio cleanup. It operates almost like digital magic for eliminating reverb and masking background hiss. However, that dedicated tool only addresses the sound issue. It doesn't assist you in locating those potential viral moments, it won't auto-schedule your content, and it certainly won't assemble a comprehensive content plan for your various channels. Some of the other platforms we mentioned do one or perhaps two of those complex tasks quite well, but Vizard effectively bundles the most sensible, necessary features into one seamless system. That bundle includes auto-editing focused on viral clip extraction, integrated auto-scheduling functionality, and a built-in content calendar for final review and direct publishing. Returning to the practical outcome of my original test, I happily went through and previewed all of the generated clips one by one. One particular clip was perfectly timed at 30 seconds, capturing the exact moment I emphasized the line about AI saving time and money, complete with a slightly dramatic intentional pause, ideal for a Reels hook. Another excellent cut was a tight 15-second segment focusing solely on my statement regarding the automation of mundane tasks, that sort of quick, high-value insight people love to double-tap for. The audio quality in those selected clips wasn't quite up to a pristine, raw studio standard, which is expected, but Vizard's processing successfully stripped away the worst of the intrusive street noise and beautifully balanced all the volume levels. It is certainly not as surgical as using a dedicated professional audio editor if you demand minute-level control, but for content designed specifically for fast social consumption, it is totally acceptable, and frankly, quite impressive. Then we arrive at the incredible auto-schedule feature, which truly becomes a massive lifesaver if your goal is consistency without wanting to perpetually live inside the platform's creator studio. You simply define your desired posting frequency, whether that's daily, every other day, or whatever cadence suits your strategy, and the tool cues the clips, posting them automatically based on your preset schedule. Crucially, this is not some opaque black box operation. You retain full control to review every queued post, modify the captions, update any thumbnail, and even manually shuffle which specific clip goes to which designated platform. Contrast that efficient process against the old way of manually exporting files from Premiere, then individually uploading them to 3 different platforms, and setting those posts separately. It is an undeniable night and day difference in terms of saved effort. I do need to preface this by saying one important thing. Absolutely nothing in the modern tech stack is truly a perfect one-click solution every single time you use it. There will certainly be occasions where the AI's algorithmically determined best clip choice might not perfectly align with your specific creative vibe or the precise point you intended to emphasize that day. And that is completely fine, because the system makes it incredibly easy to swap out any clip directly within the content calendar or instantly regenerate several alternative options for you to review. The tool is explicitly designed to function as an enormous shortcut to efficiency, not as a complete, unchangeable takeover of your creative decision-making process. You should view it more like having an exceptionally smart assistant that willingly does about 90% of the heavy lifting, leaving you to apply the final critical creative polish. Another relevant limitation that is worth explicitly calling out involves extremely long and meandering raw content files that lack clear focus. If your source material is that kind of sprawling recording, you will still benefit from providing some initial, high-level strategic direction before hitting the process button. For instance, giving the AI a simple prompt like, "Please focus primarily on anything humorous," or "Prioritize only the clearly educational moments," will effectively route its clip selection logic. Without that specific instruction, the system will default to general engagement signals, things like high vocal energy and clear articulation, which usually works well, but a quick directional prompt helps for specific campaigns. One major factor that influenced my preference compared to Descript is certainly the overall cost structure and the unified workflow it provides. Descript is undeniably fantastic for direct transcript edits, and its filler word removal feature is truly incredible. For high-volume, automated clip generation combined with cross-platform scheduling, it can become prohibitively expensive and workflow clunky. Vizard's pricing model, depending on which tier you select, feels much more intelligently tuned for creators who absolutely need a consistent system to turn long videos into constant short-form outputs without needing to hire a dedicated editor every single week. When you look at CapCut and those other mobile editors, they are often free or very cheap, yet they still mandate that you personally select the clips, perform all the manual trims, and separately schedule every single post unless you integrate several extra third-party services. So, what is the final measurable result of putting this entire system to the test with that deliberately messy recording we made earlier. From that single noisy source file with the intentionally open window, the platform successfully generated multiple ready-to-post clips, effectively corrected the most severe background audio issues, suggested optimized captions, and even mapped out a full posting schedule. I listened critically to the before and after audio comparisons, and honestly, the tangible difference extends beyond just technical sound improvement. It's fundamentally about achieving immediate momentum in your output. Instead of that valuable raw recording languishing unused in a dusty digital folder for weeks on end, I now have fresh content actively being distributed across multiple major platforms. If you are regularly producing any type of long-form content, such as detailed interviews, in-depth tutorials, or full podcast episodes, and you want to extract significantly more value from every single recording session, this workflow genuinely pays for itself very quickly. You absolutely do not need to possess advanced professional editing skills to leverage this kind of powerful system effectively. You also no longer need to purchase, learn, and stitch together several separate, disparate software tools just to achieve a basic result. This type of platform elegantly takes all the most critical, time-consuming parts, identifying viral hooks, formatting them for platform standards, and managing the publishing sequence, and wraps it all in one cohesive interface. Look, I must be clear when I say this technology is not going to replace highly skilled, nuanced editors overnight, at least not entirely. Those talented human editors bring an unmatched level of nuanced storytelling, emotional subtlety, and crucial brand polish that an algorithm still often fails to fully capture accurately. But for the massive segment of creators who desperately need scale, especially solo creators or very small, lean teams, tools exhibiting this capability are undoubtedly disruptive to the status quo. These new systems empower you to stop treating content creation like an overwhelming part-time job and start treating it more like a sustainable, predictable output machine. Anyway, if you are genuinely curious to test this concept for yourself, I have included an affiliate link for the service down in the description area below. Go try it out with one of your own long videos today. Take a messy recording, intentionally introduce some annoying background noise like I did, be a little dramatic, and just see what incredible clips it manages to automatically pull out of the chaos for you. Once you have tested it, please come back and tell me exactly what the tool did with your specific footage in the comments section. Did the AI correctly identify your strongest hooks? Or did it miss the mark entirely on those critical moments? Did you find the automatically suggested captions surprisingly useful? Or were they completely unusable for your brand voice? Ultimately, tell me honestly, did this specific process save you a noticeable amount of creation time this week? I genuinely want to read all of your detailed success stories. And I also need to hear about any spectacular, funny fail stories you might encounter along the way. All right, that was a slightly shorter video than usual today, but I sincerely hope this specific demonstration proved highly useful for your content pipeline. If you enjoyed this quick, practical demo, and you are interested in seeing more breakdowns of creator tools that genuinely cut down your actual workload, and not just your video quality, please let me know by hitting that like button. I am always looking for new ways to streamline production, so your feedback helps me choose the next tool to investigate for the channel. Thank you all so much for watching this deep dive, and I will absolutely catch you all in the very next video. Cheers for now.